Musicians Talk Show is brought to you by Bandzoogle. Bandzoogle makes it easy to build a stunning website for your music in minutes. Choose from hundreds of mobile-friendly themes, then customize your design and content in a few clicks with Bandzoogle's easy visual editor. All the features you need for a professional website are already built in, including tools to sell your music and merch commission-free right on your website, mailing list tools to grow your fan list and send newsletters, integrations to pull in content from all your online services like Twitter, Instagram, and SoundCloud, and live support from their musician-friendly team 7 days a week. Bandzoogle plans start at just $8.29 a month and include your own free custom domain name. So go to bandzoogle.com to try it free for 30 days, and be sure to use the promo code TMTS to get 15% off your first year of your subscription. Okay, before we get started, Matt and I have lots of great ideas to improve the podcast, but we can't do it without you. So if you want to help us grow, click support the show at musicianstalkshow.com and consider signing up for our Patreon. We have tons of great perks and rewards for you, such as early guest reveals, a weekly live Q&A, and access to a monthly exclusive episode only for our patrons.
Sign up for our mailing list on our website to gain access to our private community on Discord. There you can communicate with Dallas and I directly about all things TMTS. You can also follow at Musicians Talk Show on Instagram to discover new episodes, vote in polls, and join the conversation.
Thanks for listening, and enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Musicians Talk Show podcast. This is episode 58. I'm one of your two co-hosts, Dallas Dwight.
And I'm Matt Tolley. What's up, everybody?
How is it going?
Oh, it's going. It's another long week.
They're all long weeks now.
It is. It seems like the weeks are getting longer as they go. We have so much more things going on, and that's the plan. It's always been the plan, but now that we're here, sure does seem like daunting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Shows for the LA Maybe last night.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
We got all kinds of things going on, dude.
Our normal front of house person was out of town, so we had Matt stand in and help us with sound. So
yeah.
Thank you for that, by the way.
Oh, no problem, dude.
I heard a lot of good things about the sound. Several people made it a point to say, "Hey, you guys have good sound. It sounds good."
I noticed that too. I was
like,
happy to do that. I was happy to help because people were super generous. The one thing that I did get complained about the sound is that it was too loud. The manager came out and said, "I can't even hear our guys back there," and I'm like, well, man, we're playing music out here. That's what we do.
Sounds like you guys are bitches. Yeah. And then he watches as you turn it even louder.
I was like, yeah, no problem, man. Turn it up a little bit more.
More volume? No problem.
I did turn
What's funny is you were like not even close to unity gain.
Right. No, not even close, dude. We were negative 15.2 when he told me to turn it down. And I ran you guys like negative 16 to negative 17 after that. So anywhere in there, depending on the song, obviously.
That's fine. You know, you need volume, but you also need that, clarity and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's definitely a good point. I was playing with the balance. I didn't want it to be, and I didn't want it to seem weak. You know what I mean? When you're playing rock and roll songs, if you're just playing them quiet, it's going to sound like the radio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not looking for the radio.
Yeah.
Looking for a rock show here, So.
And at the bare minimum, you have to be louder than the drums.
Right. So there's always
drums
that.
are loud.
Exactly.
So it's like if you turn down too much, all you're hearing is drums.
Yep.
And not even the mic'd version of it.
Exactly. Right. So turning the mains down, that does that too. It takes out the effects of the drums because you don't have the push, the power behind the PA.
Yeah, it doesn't have any of the bass,
right?
Like the power,
So then it just sounds like, it just sounds like drums in a room that are not mic'd up or something, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. I felt like we're all in our ears all night, so we don't really know how it sounds out front, but
right.
We did have the main. I have one main right next to me, so I could feel it rumbling on the stage, and I could feel like the echoes and stuff of the reverb. And I felt like the reverb and delay was on point.
Yeah, I was working the delay too. I was trying to help the live on those big long notes, just push them a little delay at the end there. It was cool. It was fun.
Yeah,
I had a good time.
Run those tails.
It was a long day and everything because I had to work at the playroom earlier and then band practice and then go run sound for you guys. It was a long day, but it was still a lot of fun.
So you ran sound. We parted ways at 2 a.m. I got back here at like 2:30.
Yeah,
and then I didn't go to sleep. I watched a whole episode of Veep, which is 30 minutes. So I didn't go to bed till like 3:15, 3:30, and then I was up before 6.
Yeah.
That's to do work,
to do church and stuff.
So
and
then you came over today.
Yeah,
and we've been working all day.
Yeah, since
for
noon.
4 hours we've been working.
Jeez.
And so I'm just sitting here like,
yeah. Well, we're almost done. We're gonna podcast and then we're gonna let everybody get their weekend rest. Do this podcast and let everybody get their weekend rest. But I'm glad it's eventful. At least our weeks have been eventful and we have stuff to talk about. We have lots of cool stuff. Yeah.
Shout out to a bunch of people that came out to the show.
Yeah,
last
dude,
night.
that was cool.
Brian Stollard and his wife, Brian McCombs and his wife, Matthew Cullen.
Yep.
Paul came out. I mean,
very
so many
cool. Those I
people
love all
came
those
out,
guys.
And I invited them all because they live real close to where we were playing.
Yeah.
So they came out and we had a good time.
Yeah. Some other familiar faces out there too. So it was really cool.
Yeah.
Place was looking good, man. The place is, semi-packed.
I'm always happy to see the servers and stuff like mouthing and singing the words and stuff.
dancing.
And I saw some of that.
I saw some dancing, some servers that when we played or
that
Don't
means
Stop
they like
Believing.
us, and they're an integral part. Like if the clientele doesn't like us, that's not necessarily good or bad.
And you never know, that's hit or miss. Like people who work at the bar, they especially if it's a bar that has music all the time, they see the differences in bands and stuff like that. And if they're dancing around, that means you're doing a good job, as far as compared to
that's
other bands.
more validating to me than the crowd liking it. Although it's also nice when the crowd likes it.
Sure. But
so we kind of had
Don't Stop Believing. There was this bartender I remember walking across the place, whatever, just bouncing back and forth, and I was just like,
that as well.
Yeah, that was cool.
I was about to say, I felt like we had we had some good people in the crowd, but I felt like we also had a bunch of duds.
Sure.
Like I had a clear view of the door, and I saw several people walk in, take one look at us, and then I saw them point to the complete opposite side of the room to the hostess, like, we want to sit far away from that.
And it could be that I can attribute that to probably people not expecting to walk into a live show. You know what I mean? Like it's whatever it is, like 10:30 at night or whatever, and they're walking into we just came from Buffalo Wild Wings, Hickory Tavern though. They walk into there, think they're gonna drink quiet drink or something like that, maybe watch the game, and then a band's playing. So that's just what people are going for. You know what I mean? And they didn't leave; they just went to a different side of the place, which is fine.
Like, anywhere you were in there, you heard us.
Well, if you were behind the speakers, though, I bet it was better. Remember the little section behind the stage? Yeah, that little outside area. Yeah, there was some people who went out there, which totally fine.
Point.
Yeah.
It was a nice night. I wished I was out there.
It was a good night, man. Everything was good. It was all worked out. We didn't have any too bad issues. We had a little bit of Wi-Fi issue at first, but fixed it. So
what did you do to fix it?
Just guessed numbers, IP address numbers, and tried to make one that worked.
Weird, dude.
Dude, like, Rasan couldn't believe it. He was like, "You guessed
me,
one."
And Rasan were all doing the same exact thing to fix it.
Yeah,
all sorts of different permutations, and then all of a sudden, I just randomly decided to work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very strange, but I'm glad it worked. I hope it stays that way. Do you think it's location relative? Like, because obviously in practice, it's always
anywhere you go, there's different frequencies on different wavelengths and stuff, and they all fuck with everything.
That's so crazy.
So one of the things they recommended you get, which I have not gotten, is a Wi-Fi scanning program, so you can see which IPs. I guess I don't really know a lot about it, but which IPs are most open.
Right, that makes sense. That's the way the wireless units work too. Your guitar wireless and your mic wireless, that kind of stuff works on frequencies. But I think it's almost all automatic now. Like they don't even like used to. I think like I had this old Samsung wireless unit, and used to have to search through channels and find one that worked. Now I think that's all like just done automatically. Because who's gonna why make that part of the process? Why not just flip it on, have the thing scan, find an open one, bam, lock onto it, both the unit and the receiver. Yeah. Why not? Like, why would it ever be something you should have to like click through the channels? Like, no, this one doesn't work. This one doesn't work. This one works.
Yeah, especially someone like me who has no idea what's good,
and
what's bad.
It's all.
I don't know what any of the numbers mean.
I don't even think
I'm not an expert on RF.
I don't even think being an expert on it would help you, because it's just like it's one of those things that you just have to manually find one, you know, and be in a different place every time. Now, I didn't realize that that the Wi-Fi setup was that way too. You know what I mean? Like,
it's not the same type of interference frequencies, but
it's something similar.
I think it's IP addresses,
right?
Versus like radio frequency, like wavelengths and stuff.
That's weird stuff.
I guess the other one has to be wavelengths. See, I don't know anything about.
But I'm really glad we got that working, because it was awesome to be able to mix it from my iPad out.
Yeah,
you
got to sit right out there. It's pretty cool. They had this really, really long like communal table in the middle of the
and it's mounted down. Yeah, it's like
it was like
a high bar top or something.
Yeah, but it was like probably 40 feet long.
Yeah,
just anyone could sit up there and hang out.
Yeah, cool. I've seen some places like that before. A lot of like craft brew places
or something like
that. Exactly, like an Irish brew bar or Irish bar, or like a craft brew and like that kind of things. They have that because it's communal. That's the idea, is to keep people talking and standing up, drinking, that kind of thing. Fighting. There wasn't any fights. That's good. It was one guy's birthday. He wanted you guys to play the Police, and I was like, they got a set list, bro. They're on a time limit. But it's not that kind of band. You guys are not a band that's taking requests. You know what I mean?
We had someone walk up and she wrote a note. It was the weirdest thing. She came up, didn't make eye contact with anyone, and put a paper towel on the stage. And me and Goliath looked at each other like, what the fuck was that? We could see there was a little bit of writing on it. We could tell it was a note.
So something.
Well, he unfolded it after the show, and it was a paper towel with $2 bills in it. Two like $1 bills, so $2.
Okay.
And it said AC/DC and Sweet Child of Mine.
Oh, well, at least you knew those ones and you're going to do. Yeah. So that's great.
She must have missed them.
Well, that's good.
Or we played them and she was happy.
$2 tip.
Yeah, she would have thought we're mind readers because we looked down, didn't open it, and then played the song she wanted anyway.
Totally.
That's funny.
That is cool. But I'm glad she was at least on the same page as you guys. Like, you know, that's the kind of stuff you're into
my
anyway.
G-string was for You Shook Me All Night Long in the very beginning.
I did not.
It was really bad. And so the way this riff goes, you know, you have that rest. Right during that rest, I reached up and tuned it real quick.
Oh, that's how I
One of my flicker moves.
Nice.
It goes whoop. Good
job.
It took me a minute to figure out which way to turn it though. Right. I had to like, you know, figure it out real fast. I had one chance to get it right. Otherwise I would have made it way worse.
Right. Most of the time you err towards tuning up because things tend to tune down automatically.
That's what I did. Right? I was just a little bit flat, just flat enough to sound bad. Like to where you were like, that guitar's not quite in tune.
But if you think about how a string is going to go out, it's not going to go sharper. You'd have to pull it from the nut on the other side. It would have to go sharper. How would you even get it to do it?
Sharper is when it gets really cold, right?
Right, temperature change will definitely do that, right? String. But if you're playing and you start out tuned and then you go out of tune, almost always you're going to tune up. You're never going to tune down. It doesn't make sense, you know, because the string stretch out. If you bump something, that's something, right? Obviously,
then it's anybody's game.
Yep.
Whatever happened.
Yeah, no, all bets are off. Cool. So that was the LA Maybe gig.
This is good
that
stuff.
Was good.
We had good times before and after. I'm trying to remember any specific fun things we wanted to talk about or anything.
Just the fact that I like that everybody's thinking on the same page. It seems like even after the show, everybody's talking about the same things. You know, like how can we improve and like where can we build our stage presence a little here? And this gig was specifically hard stage presence wise.
The stage was very small, and we had our whole system on stage with us.
Yeah, so it was all tight.
I was going in this gig like, all right, it's time to up the game. We're stage presencing like a mofo.
And then you're shoulder to shoulder.
And then I was like, if I had moved at all, I would have slammed my head into a speaker. And then if I moved the other way, I'm like Goliath,
knocking him off the stage.
I'm just gonna stand right here.
Yeah. So definitely was the better move to just stay still and play the songs good and everything like that because it wasn't
kind of like an idiot though. I always feel like a dancing monkey or something, you know.
I always think of the it's a small it's a small world ride at Disney World.
Yeah,
that's what I feel like when I see like bands just standing there, like almost like robots, like they're you know, like that's just the thing. Anyways,
good point.
Yeah,
that font is way too small for me. We got shared in the middle.
Well, yeah. There's only a few things, luckily, so so we should talk about the.
Have we talked about the Beast and the Harlot breakdown videos?
We talked about them a little bit. I think we were excited for the third one to come out.
It's not even just the song. They do lots of different songs, but it's Avenged Sevenfold's doing that.
And Beast and the Harlot is close to our hearts because as like when we were growing up, musicians wise, I think we both had like a love for that album that came out, and it was like he's a guitar player, you know, singer, all that thing, right?
Groundbreaking. It really was.
Right. So we fell in love with those breakdown videos specifically, and there's 3 parts. They broke it down into 3 parts, where the other ones they've just done one on. And I think they're really awesome. And talking to Brooks Wackerman, having him,
I think they could have spent more time on it.
Yeah,
but that's me wanting to see all the nitty gritty, which no one else wants to see. So.
Yeah, well, I would like to see it though. You know what I mean? And I'm sure I'm sure it's probably
them.
Put
the stems up for like sale, like $30, you get Beast and the Harlot.
That would be cool. Who does that? There are bands that do that.
Most people do it because what it is it lets me or you or anyone else get it and remix it. Yeah, and release
it. Like August
not
Burn
remix, like literally like add more high end.
No, like a full remix,
like you know, rewrite it.
Sure, and you know, like you basically get remixes done for free. You know, as your band, you know.
And then if my remix ends up being super famous and successful,
they'll use it.
It helps you.
Right, exactly.
So there's really no loss.
So like bands like August Burns Red and like those bands, I believe they all
like they call them producer packs.
Yeah, right. Those are cool, man.
It's something I've definitely been entertaining for the LA Maybe because we have a lot of interesting stuff in our songs that you don't necessarily hear in the final mix so much. But
so there's lots of room for interpretation as far as
like for example with Peace of Mind, if you took the stems, you could easily make an acoustic and piano mix.
Right, because it's all in there.
Sounds really cool with like a lot of choir vocals and like weird stuff and like almost no electric guitars.
Yeah.
Which would be
really
so cool.
Full. It's so full.
I kind of want to do that just for fun.
Yeah, it's so full you can afford to take out things and change the whole feel of a song. You know what I mean? Like it's really cool. Machine did an amazing job, obviously.
Like that instead of drums.
Like Machine did an amazing job, obviously, but always interpretation is something.
Well, it has nothing to do with the mix itself. It's more like rearranging, rewriting.
It's creativity, like creatively mixing, right? Yeah.
And then I'll send it to him again, like, hey, mix this one.
Right. So we I don't know what you want to talk about as far as the Beast and the Harlot breakdown videos. We really like them.
I've told you before, but have I told the story on the podcast of me playing Beast and the Harlot in 8th grade?
Yes. Yeah, I think early in the podcast we talked about it.
Episode 58. It's time to tell it again.
Yeah, let's tell it again.
This is the story of the maddest I've ever been on stage. So 8th grade, Me and my buddy Ian McGuire.
Yeah.
Fun sidebar. I was selling a cabinet on it's on Craigslist or whatever. It was him. I was fucking selling it to him. My childhood best friend didn't realize.
Didn't even know
way apart. You know,
this is after way after the story. Way after the story.
Way after.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
story.
Gotcha.
This is like the story is probably 2006.
Okay.
2007. It would have been 2006.
And when did you sell him that cabinet?
And I sold him that cabinet probably 2014, 2015.
Wow, that's crazy.
And like we hadn't talked in years.
That's crazy.
And then, like I see him walk down the road, and I'm like, "What's up?"
Oh, you want a cabinet? That's awesome.
So that's funny. But anyway,
so all right, Craigslist. 8th grade.
Me and Ian, we were both like we got into guitar at the same time through Slash, Guns N' Roses, the same like music,
same influence.
And so we always kind of had a band. The band was, and I used air quotes there. The band was always me and him, and that was it.
Sure.
And sometimes we'd have a drummer.
Oh yeah, that's
never a bass player.
That's the same situation for me too. It was like for the longest time, it was just like one guy, and we're like, dude, you want to jam for a while? And then you get another guy, and then it doesn't work out. Whatever, right? That's the struggle. But anyways,
one thing that we both we were in all the like accelerated like. They called it STEM at our school, science, technology,
advanced classes,
all those classes, and our teachers really liked us because we weren't like dicks,
right?
So we were really good at convincing the teachers and the staff and the principals to let us bring our guitars in for just like whatever. Cool. Like, hey, can we do a talk about audio and like science waves and like play guitar? Yes.
Cool.
We convinced them to let us bring our guitars in. Our cafeteria had a stage, and we put on an impromptu. We played "Sweet Child of Mine."
Oh, sweet!
And this is in 8th grade, and like just. Everyone at the cafeteria was like, what the hell's going on?
Right.
I don't know how they got us to do that. But we convinced them for our field day. It was like, April, May, like into the school year.
Okay.
They're doing the field day. In the morning, it's the 7th graders. In the afternoon, it's the 8th graders. We convinced them to let us do a battle of the bands.
Right.
And it was going to happen twice.
I remembered it as a talent show. I remember this story as a talent show, but it was a battle of the bands type thing. Okay.
Another fun story. Daniel Kyer played with his band there first. And I didn't know who he was at the time.
Okay.
We met the following year.
Wow. That's cool. Interesting, man.
They played Back in Black.
Oh, cool.
I do remember that. Which is all that riff's all good, but you know what's really cool about the song is when it gets to the
yeah, it is.
Anyway,
falling
we
down style.
Do this. So we get a whole stage, we get a whole sound crew. We have we'd put together this band. It was me and Ian. We had this drummer, a bass player, 2 singers. So it was 6 or 7 of us or whatever.
Okay.
And we were gonna play Beast and the Harlot.
Whew.
So for the 7th graders, they come out, we play Beast and the Harlot. It smokes. It's awesome. One thing I do remember is it was really, really cold. It was an April morning or whatever. It was cold. And my hands wouldn't move.
Yeah,
that's the first time and really one of the only times I've experienced
like physical
weird disconnect of like my brain knowing how to do it and what to do. My fingers physically cannot move.
Yeah. I remember realizing that too.
It was pretty weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the in-between part, so like around lunchtime, our drummer decides Avenged Sevenfold sold out and he doesn't want to play anymore. Like, you're deciding this now, dude? We've been planning this for like a month.
That's not the case.
He was probably the best drummer of the school. Like, he was a catch. He was a good drummer.
Really?
He's kind of a weird dude, and his since kind of fallen off the map. But he was a killer drummer at the time. At the time, it was like if he was the drummer.
Okay.
Really good at like double kick.
So you think he could have done it? It wasn't he was worried about doing it.
We did Out to Get Me with him. And on the part of the doom ba 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 doom ba 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 ba. Well, he did straight double kick. He went ba 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 ba. Nice. That was the coolest.
That is cool.
So simple looking back. We thought that was the coolest.
It is cool though. Yeah.
And anyway, so he decides he's going to quit. Well, the bass player decides that if there's no drummer, he's going to quit. And the singers decide that if there's no bass player and no drummer, they're going to quit.
Yeah.
So for the 8th grade battle of the bands, Ian and I have to go out there and play Beast and the Harlot, 2 guitars. That's it.
No backing track. No click. No nothing.
Know any of that stuff. Dude, I was playing through tears, looking down at my guitar. It's just the maddest I've ever been. Like, not sad tears. It was mad tears.
Just
like
mad.
I'm gonna fucking strangle somebody.
Yeah, that sucks, man. I would have just bailed if I were you, but that's admirable.
Props to me and Ethan,
that's admirable
Ian for sticking it out.
Yeah, because
what's funny is looking back, it never even occurred to me to not do it. It was like, okay, well, I'm going to stand up here alone and do it if I have to.
That says a lot about you, man. That's a good thing, man. Determination and your willpower. Like you're not going to be stopped because somebody else gets some stupid notion.
The first time we did it, like it went off pretty well. The singers weren't good,
right?
Like, they're just goofballs or whatever. Right. They were running around stage like a bunch of monkeys, but
right. That's hard too to get young singers.
The bass player was good, and the drummer was solid, really good.
Right.
So I mean, I don't remember how good he played.
That pulls it all together. If you got a good drummer, dude, that'll pull a whole performance together. Like so.
Yeah.
But the singers, I've always known that like in younger days, like you're just not going to get somebody who could sing like what you want to hear, like what you what you expect professional music to sound like, because kids are kids. Like they're not, they don't have a vocal yet. They don't have a thing yet, you know? Mm-hmm. Some of them do. Some of them are ridiculous. Michael Jackson, like we talk about some child prodigy singers.
He was like beat to sing though. Like, you know what I mean?
And
like
wasn't he, I don't know if castrated is, but wasn't he something was done to him to make him sing high forever?
I don't know.
I thought there was something to do with him.
That sounds like a myth. But
I know they did that to people. I know they did that to people back in the day.
They did that in like the 800s.
I don't know if Michael Jackson 1800s it would be, not the 800s.
No, it was like the 800s, like with the fucking
castration, the tenor boys or whatever.
I'm looking for
the tenors, right?
Yes. The word I'm looking for is the Gregorian monks.
Oh yeah.
That's not them.
No, but they did that later than that. They did that.
I think it was an Italian thing.
Yeah. So I don't know if Michael Jackson was. I might be totally wrong on that, but I thought that he was something.
I think
somehow.
We're totally wrong about a lot of stuff we just said.
We can fucking Wikipedia it, dude. I'll find out right now what happened to Michael Jackson. Why is Michael Jackson able to
Wikipedia Michael Jackson right now?
Why?
After that documentary came out.
Which one? The new one?
Yeah.
Dude, I haven't watched it, but I've heard about it.
Yeah,
apparently people are.
The Keep go.
Oh, it's down there. I got it. Sorry. Yeah. I need to watch it, but I have always had my suspicions that he was he's a weirdo for sure.
I always wanted to believe in him.
Yeah, you always wanted to
believe he was
normal and not like
and just a weird dude, because there's plenty of weird dudes that aren't evil, you know.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. That lady, the little clip that I saw of that
and R.
documentary,
Kelly at the same time, both of those documentaries came out. That kind of like,
what was R. Kelly's documentary?
Was it an R. Kelly documentary?
Peed on some girl? I don't know. Story, I guess.
Was it like, yeah, it was
the story broke.
Anyway, he's always in trouble.
Yeah, dude, here's the thing about R. Kelly. Can we talk, let's just side break real quick and talk about
I don't know much about him or his story at all, really.
Okay.
But
okay.
Do you know any of his music?
None of it?
Nothing.
Do you know Trapped in the Closet?
I don't know. What is that?
That's
some of it.
That's the one. All right. So here's the idea. The idea is that he's seeing this girl. She's got a guy. She got a man or whatever. And he's over there messing with her, right? And messing around. And a guy comes home early. So he goes in the closet and hides in the closet while this girl tries to talk her man down, and is like, it's like, oh no, how are you doing or whatever. And he goes, what's going on here? Well, R. Kelly's in the closet the whole time. He's singing this. The lyrics are as if him like singing from the closet, and there's so many parts to it, dude. Like,
is this the album?
It's not even like an.
Is this the one D'Elia was making fun of like 2 weeks ago?
Yes, dude.
And Josie was in the room, and then I went to the fucking room, and it's so funny, dude.
Yeah, dude. So he has like, there's so many of them. I forget how many there are, but there's like 20 something of them. Like
chapters is what he called them,
chapters, right? Or something. So R. Kelly, Trapped in the Closet. Let me just look at that real quick. And it's so funny because here's my thing about him. It's not impressive. He's just talking. He's talking over this music. You know what I mean? He's talking over this like this really simple like style and beat. So here are 33 chapters released from 2005 to 2012. 33 chapters about being trapped in the closet, and it just gets insane. Yeah, Chris D'Elia does it best. If you guys want to hear a really funny depiction of how he looks at it, it's so funny. I don't know what episode it was, but it was on his Congratulations podcast. But anyways, I am not impressed by R. Kelly anymore. Like, I don't know. I remember like when the first Trapped in the Closet came out, and I was like, okay, I get it. It's kind of catchy.
As he was describing it, I kind of understood the gist, and I was just like, nothing has ever interested me less.
Yeah, it is annoying. It's so boring and overdone. It's just like, it's like taking one idea and doing it 33 times over and over and over. You know what I mean? Like, it's beating it to death. I don't get it. But anyways, that's my thing about R. Kelly. I don't get it.
Artist.
Yeah. So anyways.
Artists are fucking weird.
They are weird. And I wonder if that's one of those things you get caught in, like, oh, this is working. Everybody loves it. Like, I'm going to do another one. Oh shit. Everybody loves the second one too, you know? 33 chapters later, here we are.
And like, what was it, 8 years or 7 years or something?
2005 to 2012. So yeah, 7 years. Dude, that's crazy.
Like, what? Like, God.
And that's funny that we were just talking about Beast in the Harlot. 2005 was the year that came out. R. Kelly, Trapped in the Closet.
It's funny now that you mention it that we played Beast in the Harlot so close to its release, because I don't remember it like coming out.
Right. I remember it in high school like it was yesterday, man. It was like, because I was listening to
when it was out, but I don't remember like, this is this band I liked with this album. Like,
yeah. So for me, it was like
the first thing I'd heard from them.
Right. Yeah. For me, it was that I listened to Wake in the Fall and I liked it. Sounding the Seventh Trumpet, it was all right for me back then. I like it a lot more now because I understand what they were going for and stuff. But then City of Evil was coming out, I remember, and Beast in the Harlot, it was a single, and then Backcountry, I think, was a second single, maybe.
I think.
Or maybe it was
the first single.
Maybe it was the other way around.
I think Backcountry might I don't know if it still is, but it was for a long time their biggest song.
Yeah, definitely. And I think
it might still be.
It might still be. Yeah. So here's the thing, though. So
Hail to the King was pretty.
I liked Waking the Fallen, and then City of Evil was coming out, and my buddy Kyle, everybody knows Kyle, was really all about it. He heard Beast in the Harlot and was just like, dude, have you heard this band? I was like, oh yeah, I like their album Waking the Fallen. And he was like, well, listen to this. And we played it, and it was just such a improvement. It was such like a build on what they were already doing, and I was just like, whoa, like this is it.
The only thing I know.
So when the album came out, I was ready, is all I'll say.
That's awesome. I was not.
I was ready.
The only thing I knew about them, and this might have been in after City of Evil and after I knew who they were and all that stuff, but everyone on my block played Unholy Confessions.
Yeah.
That was the first riff everyone learned, and and so many people around me played it and learned it that I refused to.
My favorite off that record was Second Heartbeat. I know that everybody liked
That's a good one.
Everybody liked the Unholy Confessions song because the riff and the, it was killer.
The best part of that song is the dun dun
dun dun dun.
And the best part about that riff is in the video. During the gap, the Rev twirls his stick, and it's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, well,
I don't even know if it's a real stick twirl. It might be the Tommy Lee one, but he goes dun dun twirl.
Yeah. I
like
like Sinister Gates doing the bend, but he drops his guitar a whole step every time. He literally is holding his guitar by his neck, and he bends the string, and then drops his guitar, lets it go, grabs it a whole step down, bends that one, drops it, grabs it again. Dude, it's killer, dude. It's so killer.
Yeah, that's a cool riff.
And I remember thinking to myself, like, that is style. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I was
Uh-huh.
like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But City of Evil is so different and so unique. I still don't think anything's really like it. You know what I mean?
I know. And it's crazy
Can you name
because
another album like City of Evil? I'm sure there's a couple like clones that came out after, but
yeah, the only thing I could think of is like
literally nothing like it.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of is if you mix
Except
a couple
the
records
next one
together.
after.
If you mix a couple records together, you can get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you take like Guns N' Roses, I think is a big influence on that record.
It would have to be like the Illusion stuff, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be like the bigger sounding gun stuff, not the raw rock and roll stuff.
Yeah.
But and then mixed with metal, like some metal, like I don't even know what Pantera, maybe Metallica, definitely, like maybe a mixture of all three of those bands.
Yeah.
And that's where like Avenged Sevenfold got that like this sound that's bigger
really
than
cool sound that
it's killer. I love it.
I love that they had the balls to just do what they wanted, and it ended up being so cool.
Yeah, dude. And they just got signed to Warner Brothers Records. Yeah, they just got signed to Warner Brothers Records, and I guess they got complete creative control and everything. And then they handed the record over. I guess I don't know.
So just then, you mean?
City of Evil was released under Warner Brothers Record. I don't know if actually they even.
I want to go back and look up like the credits on that.
Yeah, we need to find that out.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Mixing is a big one that I want and I'm curious about.
Yeah, I think though that they got actually signed after City of Evil was written. And they were getting ready to go in the studio, and Warner Brothers signed them. I think something like that. I don't think they wrote.
Were probably on a label before that though.
They were on Hopeless.
Hopeless, really? They started on Hopeless?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I heard they did. They were talking about. In one of the breakdowns, they were like, "Yeah, the first time we did Warped Tour or something like that," and I was like, "They did Warped Tour?
Yeah,
like, jeez,
yeah."
Dude, Warped Tours,
and they said that was huge for them. They said that was like really big. They like one time they like missed their slot or didn't get like their passes or something. Or no, that's what it was. Somebody gave them passes, but they weren't good for whatever, so they weren't letting them on stage during their slot, so they missed their slot, and they got a later slot, and said that was huge for them because they played in front of a different crowd. People weren't expecting to see them. They were like,
right.
So anyways, they said Warp was huge for them as far as.
What year were they at Warp? Years, probably.
Yeah, it would have been Unholy Confession. I mean, it would have been, Awaken the Fallen years.
Oh, really?
And maybe even Sound of the Seventh Trumpet years, but it was like before City of Evil. City of Evil, I saw them on the City of Evil tour with Kyle. Kyle got me tickets or whatever, and we went to Myrtle Beach and saw them at
House of Blues.
It must have been House. Yeah, it was House of Blues. Yeah, and then we saw them at Amos's maybe like a year later.
And that's pretty cool to see them in those small environments.
Oh, it was amazing, dude.
I would have. And that was with Rev too.
Yeah, and that was the first time we heard them play Walk by Pantera. That before it was released or anything like that. They just were playing it.
They released Walk.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a single they released. Yeah, and it's good. Obviously that's their big influence. They did that cover really well. Anyways, we've talked enough about Avenged Sevenfold. I'm super stoked that they're doing these breakdown videos.
But we've been thinking about doing cover songs and maybe releasing them to you guys.
Dude, we should do that.
Me and Matt love all kinds of music. So.
Yeah. And we always are talking about how easy it would be to cover something. It's like we have all the facilities. Like Dallas can play the fucking guitar and anything. I'm pretty confident in my vocals nowadays. Even if I can't do something exactly like I can find my own way to do it.
Our own way, yeah.
And it's fun, man. Like we've doing the 24-hour EP, doing the concept album. We've really developed a good rhythm and recording Prep and Barium, LA Maybe stuff. we've really got a good rhythm to working together. So might as well just throw a cover in and like, what do you say, like once a month?
Once a month, once every couple months, maybe once a quarter, something we release.
Something where we can fit it
every
in.
1 to 3 months we release.
Here we are adding more stuff to our already busy schedule. But it will be fun. I'm totally down,
I think this works for a couple reasons. One, it's good for us to get more content out there that's not just a podcast.
Right.
That's great.
Right.
But hey, if
people search, a cover song that they like or whatever, or a song that they want to see covered, and they find our podcast because of it, why not?
Right.
Sure. Yeah. It's good. And obviously we're adding content. So,
and also it doesn't really add too much to our schedules because it's something I can do in my free time. And then whenever you come over, we just lay down whatever and then done.
I like this. We're spending more time on podcast days and knocking stuff out, concept album, like whatever we prepping, all this stuff. So it's fun.
It's going to be awesome. So that might be something to look forward to in the future. Hey, if you guys have any covers in mind, hit us up on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook.
That's a great idea. Yeah, and especially if you think that it's something that we like, we like or something like that, and you're just like, oh, these guys would do that. Hit us up with some cool stuff.
You guys don't know what we sound like really, because it's just you and me.
Well,
don't necessarily have a sound.
Right.
So so go nuts.
Go nuts.
If there's anything you want to hear,
surprise us. Yeah, that'll be fun.
We can put something together.
Yeah, if there's a demand for that, I'm totally down to do that. That'd be cool.
So last week you put up a weekly poll. What was that poll?
Oh yeah, so we did 6-string versus extended range. That was cool. Because I thought, with modern day, dude, I was thinking extended range was going to take it. But
I think 5 to 7 years ago it would have.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. It was
like in the 2010s,
kind of heavy era for it, and now maybe people are kind of.
I think people are kind of like over it now,
getting back to the 6 strings.
Too many strings.
Yeah,
give me 6.
So I set it up as the poll to be stick with 6 or give me more. So give me more being, you can extended range guitars go lower,
7, 8, 9,
baritone guitars, that kind of stuff. So you can, have bassier tones and get that heavy, modern.
Is a 12 string exempt from that?
That's a good point. I didn't really, is a 12 string extended range or is it just?
It's not extended. Well, I guess it is. It adds.
It's octaves.
It's not extended range. Yeah,
it's not extended range. So I would say, because my thing was 6 string versus extended range.
Okay.
Was my whole idea behind it at least. But yeah, that's a good point.
That's what I understood it to be.
Yeah.
So I figured 12 string wouldn't. Yeah. Also, whose main instrument and like primary instrument?
It's a 12 string. Yeah, no.
It's like usually just an effect.
Yeah. So, but it was an overwhelming majority to 6 string. So that was interesting.
Like 88 to 12 or whatever.
88 to 12 is what I remembered
Something
it being.
Like that.
Yep. But that's cool. We were doing the concept record.
I voted
with
6 string.
Yeah, I voted 6 string as well.
And it's funny. I think people might expect me to vote 7 because I just bought the 7.
And we just talked about it. Right. I thought that too. Actually, I was wondering, wonder what Dallas is going to go with. No, but
that 7
primarily
it's probably never gonna leave my house.
That 7 string is a cool
studio tool.
It's a paintbrush.
Yeah,
you said it earlier that it was a paintbrush. It's like having another brush in your.
Yeah, it's like I bought a fan brush, if you know what those are. They're the ones that make like the clouds look.
Yeah, which is what I would say the 12 string falls in the same kind of right. You're not going to play everything you do on a 12, but a 6 string, man, there's something so versatile about a 6 string, man. Like you can
it goes anywhere.
And it's not too big cuz like that's the thing too about like 7 strings, 8 strings, the fretboards get really big, so they get kind of harder to navigate.
The argument could be made though that you can still do whatever you want 6 string
on a 7 string or an 8 string, right? Because you still have the 6 strings that are primarily on a regular
I
guitar.
did that for a long time. My main instrument was a 7 string when I was in the pop punk band, and I never ever once played that 7 string.
Wow.
I just treated it like a 6 string.
Okay.
And then, but when I needed it, it was there for certain things.
Sure. There was like little things that you could add.
It was a $300 black RG Ibanez 7 string.
Why do you think 7 strings are so affordable? Like it would seem like a lot of 6 strings precede the price of a 7 string.
If you look at the same guitar, the 7 string is going to be more expensive if it's the exact same guitar.
But like a Les Paul, say a Les Paul is $2,000 for a 6 string.
I feel like a 7 string Les Paul, if that's even a thing, I don't think it is. I'm sure.
Epiphone makes one, but I don't think Gibson makes one.
Or something. But
Epiphone makes one.
If it was a Gibson Les Paul standard for $2,500 6 string, I bet the 7 string would be like $2,750.
Yeah,
something.
Just because the same quality is going into it. But
same. If everything's the same. Now, if you're looking at an Epiphone 7 string versus a Gibson Les Paul standard, you're like, well, the 7 string's $300 and the
right.
That's different. You know what I mean?
So you just think that maybe they don't make the higher end 7 strings like they do 6 strings? Like they don't make like
Oh, you can get some 7 strings for like $4,000 for sure.
Okay.
Like the John Petrucci's and stuff.
Oh, right. Well, yeah. I didn't even think about them.
35 or something like that.
And like ESP makes a bunch of 7 strings. Yeah, I'm not thinking clearly.
And the Jackson, the Jackson Broderick, which I have,
the solos.
A lot of people will do this. They have the the affordable version, which
Right.
is like $800. That's
Right.
the one I had. And then they have the USA version, which was like $35.
And is it neck through versus bolt on? Is that a difference?
No, the one I had was neck through.
Okay, so
it's little details that I'm not
probably
well-versed
electronics,
enough.
probably wood quality kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That little things like that.
craftsmanship.
yeah,
and,
yeah,
like,
where it's made.
in the USA,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that kind of stuff, which
Yeah.
I guess counts for something.
Yeah, it would seem low. All right, so what about 12 strings? And are 12 strings less expensive than 6 strings? Because sometimes it just seems like you get a 12 string acoustic for, $400, $500, and then that same acoustic would be $1,000 for a 6 string. I feel like I see that all the time.
I don't know. I don't know that I've seen that.
I know with more machines for the
112 string I own
strings, with more
was
hardware.
400
You have to
but
have.
I bought it used.
Okay, yeah, and all the hardware though, like your 12 knobs instead of 6 knobs.
Dude, it's such a pain.
Like how is it even possible that they're even relatively? Yeah,
It's
I like
Goliath's
that 12.
12, actually.
It was, yeah. Now it is not, but
Well, I bought it from.
right.
So yeah, it's now.
and then I got a 12 string recently.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah, and I love it.
Dude, they're so
But-
annoying to tune though.
But why are they so much cheaper than a regular acoustic guitar?
I don't know that I'd say they're so much cheaper than a regular acoustic guitar because I think you might be seeing a different model. You know what I mean?
Model.
For example, if you see a Taylor
understand,
114,
yeah.
and it's like, oh, the 12 strings $800, and then you see the Taylor like 814, and it's like $5,000.
Yeah, I
Like, they
totally
kinda look the
understand
same,
that.
But
I totally understand that. But what I'm talking about is like the Atlas. I have a Breedlove Atlas, right? And you can get that same Atlas, and they're made from the same place. And it seems like the 12 strings even a little bit cheaper for whatever reason. I wonder. In my mind,
I'd have to actually look at it.
yeah, we should do a little research on this. I might be totally off on this because it might be like
It sounds
I said,
you
model.
are, but I don't know.
Yeah. So my thought was that 12 strings might not last as long with all the tension on the neck and stuff like that.
I don't know that those thin little strings add a tremendous amount of tension. More than a 6 string maybe, but I don't think they're going to be bent
Good
in the
point.
string or anything,
Good
or
point.
bent in the neck.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they've set
There's-
shit up like they've thought it through
Yeah.
more than you or I.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like I've played a bunch of old 12 strings that just don't, like the neck's all bowed up and they just
Really?
don't play good. And I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out
Maybe
what
just
I want to look into
Poorly
that.
taken care of.
Yeah, let's talk about that later on.
Okay,
off the
cool.
podcast.
Well, the big meat of the podcast we wanted to talk about today was a conversation we started having yesterday. You introduced me.
Yeah. Oh, so we were talking a little bit. Sorry, I didn't realize you were leaving me to segue. So we were talking about how long it takes a band to break because it's not necessarily across the board. It's not the same for every band.
So one of the big examples we were talking about overnight successes
Sure.
and how it's not really a thing. And the thing that prompted this is you just found out about a band from Los Angeles called Dirty Honey.
Yeah.
You sent them to me.
Yeah. Shout out to Drew for sending me that band. That was awesome.
And I listened to them and they fucking blew my mind. They're phenomenal.
Yeah, they're great.
And I see a lot of my band in them.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm
do
not-
too.
I'm not sitting here saying we're phenomenal. I think they're
No.
They're
And
really very good, and I hope to be as good as they are. But
I said the same thing too. I said this very LA maybe like, and I
they're
like
exactly
it.
what I like. And
Yeah.
it's funny. I showed Jordan. I was like, check out this band Matt showed me. And she laughed. She was like, this is just you. Like, I wonder why you like it. This is your band.
Well, that's good. It's you know what? It always gives me positive reinforcement that what I'm doing when I hear a band that sounds like me, and if
And
I
they're
do
doing well?
yeah,
Yeah,
and,
it's
and
nice
especially if they're doing well, it's like
nice
a
to hear.
positive reinforcement. But it's almost a positive reinforcement just that they exist. It's like fuck. Well, at least I'm not the only one out here doing
Yeah.
thinking this is cool. Like this.
Yeah.
But
and they have a lot of fans.
yeah, and I have a hard time relating to anybody else when I listen to stuff. So when I find something that's very similar or even close, I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like it always
Right.
gets me too. So I know what you mean.
So here's my perception.
Yeah.
I'm forwarded. This is literally it's Sunday. This was probably Friday.
Right.
You sent me this, and so 2 days ago. That's how long I've known about this band.
Right.
I've since listened to their EP like 4 times.
Yeah, me too.
So they have an EP out, and it's
Yeah, what is it
I'm gonna
called?
look it up real quick. I think it's just self-titled, but
I think
Sweet
it
and
is too.
Simple, dude. That's such a good song.
Yeah, dude.
You told me about that song.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
the
of
one
my
I
favorite
found.
songs.
Yeah,
We're
that's the
talking
one
about Journey.
I found out on the ride to Colorado. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, honey.
My friend had that CD in his truck, and I listened to it over and
You told
over.
me that story. Like
That's so good.
Going down the road.
Yeah, it's
that was
just
all
Dirty
windy and
Honey
stuff.
EP.
So Dirty Honey EP, you got to add that for sure.
Yeah.
So it's got 5 songs. It's 2019. They have another single from 2018. Before that, at least on Apple Music, under this name, there's nothing.
Right.
Well, I went and added them on Facebook or whatever, and the Facebook page was created in 2010.
Right. So they've been out there.
So that's making me think like, okay, so they just came into my life. I noticed them. I see everyone talking about them. They were literally in Charlotte. They're from Los Angeles. They were in Charlotte the day I found out
That's
about
crazy
them. What are
too.
the odds of that?
Yeah.
'Cause
They're on our radio, our
I
local
looked at
radio
their Instagram,
station.
and they were saying thank you to our local radio station. I was like, oh, they must be a local band. That's really cool.
Right.
Nope, they're from LA. They just happen to be here.
Yeah.
And they're touring kind of around and stuff. So they're touring. They have, tens of thousands of followers on socials. An amazing EP that's getting traction and play and stuff like
and
that.
And is it weird that EP's only been out this year? Like it's only just come out. So to think about that, like how long it takes for a band to get to the point where they have a quality music. First of all, that's one of the things, right? They're building, they're writing, they're taking, getting rid of anything that's not good, right? Like it takes time to vet it all out. And you finally feel comfortable with like, okay, these 4 songs are killer. 5 songs. I forget how many's on the EP.
5, I think.
I think it's 5. So these 5 are killer. These tracks are killer. Let's get them out there. And then when you do that, your due diligence, you went through the process, you eliminated stuff that you didn't think was as strong. You are left with 5 amazing songs, and you put them out.
Yeah, good point.
And it's a showstopper. It's something to be reveled at. I guess. I don't know what
but
word
this
I'm looking
band
for.
has been in some way or another grinding for a decade.
Right.
Just to release this now and get all this traction and be an overnight success.
Yeah.
Well, they've really been at it for a decade,
Yeah, and that's what could be weird about that too is, and we'll talk about this more as we talk on this subject, is that how to follow it, right? Like, because you come out and you come out swinging strong, and then all of a sudden you make this big presence, and then the next thing has to be good.
What we generally see if they follow in Greta Van Fleet's footsteps is a really strong EP, followed by a weaker full length record.
Sure. Because it's like all the singles. It's like all the singles are put on the EP,
right, all the best songs,
and then they kind of fill up the rest of an album with other songs.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's not what we see. I agree.
It depends on how hard they hit too, because Greta Van Fleet hit really hard, and so I'm sure they had a tremendous pressure from labels and people to get more stuff out there. So they had to, like the next thing they put out was an 8-song album, wasn't even a full length, and 4 of them were the EP.
Right.
So it was like
it's not much new. 4 new songs. Not much new songs.
None of them were as good as the 4 from the EP. So
that's a bad move. That's a bad move marketing wise. You don't want to like release an album like that and then have everything else just be below the bar of what you already released. You're going backwards almost. So I forgot what I was saying now. The following up of it, man, I lost track of what I thought I was saying. God damn it. Well, anyways.
Happens to me every podcast.
Oh yeah, Greta Van Fleet coming on the scene on fire. Here's the thing: what they say about when you get popular fast, haters find you fast too. Like there's always like it's nice when everybody who loves you finds you, and there's like you got all this traction, you're building fan base and stuff like that. But as that builds, the people who don't like you also build, because now you're in everybody's face. You're in the
I think there's people
news all the time.
Some people don't like you for sure, but I think some people are neutral. And if they see you fucking everywhere, they start to get annoyed.
Yeah, exactly.
And they start to kind of not necessarily
makes it easy to hate,
but they're just like,
it makes you easy to hate. Yeah, it makes you easy to hate because now everybody likes this band, and if you just are just not into it as much as everybody else, then all of a sudden you're on the other side. You're on like, I don't like that.
This
band.
was in March of last year. Foz and I went down to Colombia to do some drum tracking, and we went to a Mexican restaurant for lunch. And we walked in. We look like musicians, and I guess the guy overheard us talking about what we were doing, recording drums or whatever. Sure. And as we were walking out, he goes, this is what he says. He doesn't say hi. He doesn't say anything. He goes, you heard of Greta Van Fleet?
Right.
That's what he said.
Like he was just listening to your conversation and then wanted to join in and gave you the most like that popular band at the moment. Yeah. Have you heard of Justin Bieber?
This is March, this is March of last year, though.
Right. Yeah. So they were still new, but it is interesting, though, that to get popular, you also gain haters. That's going to happen. So you're going to have articles that come out are bad, that are not good or whatever. And maybe it's not your fault. Maybe it's literally the hype around you so big that people just want to be like, they're not that good. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Especially since they're controversial about the Led Zeppelin dichotomy, how close they are, similar they sound. So
yeah. Which even Slash and other people saying like, I wish they had a little more of an original sound because I like what they're doing and I like their vibe.
Sure. They're just going a little too close to that Led Zeppelin line. We don't need to rehash Led Zeppelin over and over. So what are other bands that, because Dirty Honey's a new band, modern day representation.
One big thing I wanted to say that maybe not an issue, but maybe a cause for these like 20-year overnight successes is member changes.
Sure.
Because and we'll see this come up in the list of bands that we made so far. A lot of times a band will struggle, and then they'll kick out their singer and get a new singer and immediately get famous.
Exactly. It's like that was the missing puzzle piece. Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, and so the question to me then becomes, they kind of were an overnight success in that case. They kind of weren't, but they kind of were. I
bet the guitarist, if it's just like you said, a new singer comes on board or whatever, I bet the guitarist doesn't think about it as like they're an overnight success. Like,
because he's been grinding at it for.
He's like, man, I've been writing these songs for 20 years. You know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think Skid Row was that way. I'm pretty positive Skid Row was they were a band for a few years, and then they they fired their old singer, came across Sebastian right here. So shit, where was it? I just saw it a second ago.
It says they formed in '86, and their first album came out in '90. I know that.
Okay, so there's 4 years there,
or maybe it was '89.
Okay, so formed in '86, '87.
Also, shout out to dudes named Rachel.
Is there a guy named Rachel in there?
Yeah, their bass player, I think.
Oh, okay.
Rachel Bolan.
Oh, okay. It's not Rochelle, is it?
It could be.
I think it might be Rochelle. Anyways, so sorry for the awkward silence here, but the trying to find out when Sebastian Bach actually joined Skid Row.
It was released in January '89.
Okay, so there you go. Okay, 86 to '89. That's 3 years.
And here Wikipedia even says was an instant success.
There you go. Wikipedia fell for the hype. No, they were writing songs though for a while, and then Sebastian Bach came into their organization and just made that sound.
I don't think he was in there from the very beginning, and I think it was one of the managers or something that suggested.
Who wasn't Sebastian Bach?
Yeah,
he wasn't. No, he was definitely like as soon as their success, he was definitely the ignition of their success.
Right,
success.
He's a force. He's a force of nature.
Old original singer Matt Fallon was the. So after the band spotted Bach singing at the at rock photographer Mark Weiss's wedding. At the age of 18, and the members asked him to join in early '87. So there you go. So they saw him perform at a wedding.
So he was in the band for 2 years before that album came out.
Who was?
Bach. He joined in early '87.
Oh, right.
The album came
asked
out
him
early
to join.
'89.
Yeah, that's interesting. He was so still another 2 years. Definitely not an overnight
you
success.
go not do something for 2 years and tell me if that's an overnight
success. Yeah, I guarantee
even
it.
2 years is not overnight.
Yeah.
I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's fast.
So that's one that I always hear about.
Let's talk about Journey because I know their story well.
Mm-hmm.
Journey started it from not the ashes of, but Neil Schon and Greg Rowley, or Rowley, however you want to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Rowley.
Mm-hmm.
They were both in Santana's band, and they decided to start their own band.
Mm-hmm.
And that band was called Journey, and they put out 3 albums. And then their manager was like, "You need a singer. Like Greg Rowley's a good singer, but you need a real singer."
And he had somebody in mind, right? Didn't he have Steve Perry in mind?
Perry was the one he
manager,
recommended.
recommended him. Okay.
And the band didn't want Steve Perry. They were like, "This guy's a good singer, but we don't want a crooner. We need like a rock singer."
Right.
Like, they wanted Sebastian Bach.
Right.
And they got Steve Perry. And the manager, to his credit, Herbie Herbert, he said, "No, you guys are getting Steve Perry."
Nice. Well, it was a good move.
and the band, to their credit, was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
I can't imagine, like, that would never happen with someone like Guns N' Roses or Motley Crue.
Yeah, you can't tell them who's going to sing their band.
You need this singer, and they'd be like, "Nope, fuck you."
Yeah, exactly. So that's when,
and that could have been to their detriment. But
yeah.
Journey,
he must have been a good manager. They must have trusted him,
Yeah.
So
he was,
and he's convincing.
He's probably the biggest reason.
And he's convincing, So
So anyway, they got Steve Perry, and the first album Steve Perry did has Lights, Wheel in the Sky,
just a fucking record.
A couple other relatively big ones, but not the biggest songs.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the next one after that was Escape. Well, there's a couple more, and then Escape. But
Right.
Escape is the one that has literally every Journey.
Right.
Don't Stop Believing. Faithfully might have been off the next one. But it's got Open Arms, Mother, Father, like all sorts of cool songs.
Right.
And
just goes to show you, like, when you have like a new member that it fits right, all of a sudden inspiration just flows, and then they probably wrote all those songs like within a short period of time,
Yep.
I'm sure.
So moving on to another band, Greta Van Fleet.
Yeah, we talked about it a little
Formed
bit.
in 2012, signed in 2017. That's 5 years.
Right. So there you go. So they had a 5-year journey, and they're young, you know what I mean? So they were the kids, kind of just getting started.
To put that in perspective, the LA Maybe's been a band officially for
you released
6 months.
Yeah, you released on New Year's Day. So that's the first single.
When would you say a band is formed? When they have all the members that they...
No. I wouldn't say that's when the band's formed. I think when the conception is born.
Started as a pop punk band with me and Foz and like two other people.
Nah, I think with the conception,
with that name and everything.
The conception is what the concept. Okay. When the concept is actually born and it's the idea is there, and like this is going to be a band that's this.
That
this,
would have been
this,
summer
and this.
2017.
Okay, so a few years ago. But did you have members like? Did you have at least a complete band then? Because I don't know if that counts either.
Me, Logan, Foz, and Goliath. Yeah.
Okay, so you had a full band, and then I'd say that's a full band.
And Peace of Mind was written a year
and the
before
idea
that.
and the idea has just been mulling around basically and trying to get traction the whole time, and now it finally has, and here it is
with member changes.
Right,
blah, blah,
exactly.
Blah.
So it's just part of it. It's part of the birth of a band is forming it, figuring its way out.
It's like those first 5 years almost don't even really count,
right? Because what are you doing? You're getting to know each other. You're understanding what your sound is like. then you're going to practice your songwriting and practice your craft, you know?
It makes me wonder though, if Dirty Honey has been a band since 2010, why is the only music they've released?
What about, how about this? We don't talk about this enough. Cost of getting high quality recordings has gone down. When they started, it was probably still a little tough, you know, not impossible. Obviously, the technology's been growing, gaining slowly and slowly. Mm-hmm. But maybe now it's just finally like, well, it's affordable. We can do this on our own. We don't have to have a record label. And I don't think Dirty Honey has a record label, right? Or do they? Know.
It doesn't sound like they did that shit on their own, though.
No, right.
Sounds well produced.
It sounds well produced, but maybe that's part of the time it took too, you know, is to get the music done. Like I know Previn Barium has been a year in the process. We recorded the drums 1 year ago in February or maybe March. But so that's
recorded it that long ago.
I got a reminder. No, I got a reminder on Instagram that I posted a picture of David recording.
Oh, okay.
And I got a reminder saying it was a year ago. I was like, wow, a whole year ago we recorded the drums, and here we are still just with 2 singles out.
I kept thinking it was in the summer, but then I guess that's when he was leaving.
Yeah, he left at the end of summer, and then basically all through the winter, fall and winter, he was gone to BMW school. But so the idea being though that is like we've had the drum tracks, we've been tracking guitars, tracking vocals, tracking everything, right, and writing lyrics. Still, some of it wasn't complete, totally done. It takes time, like to build that up, and it's not like there's a huge rush when you're releasing your first song, your first album either. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like nobody's waiting on it. Like you have all the time in your world, so make sure it's good, and maybe that early time in a band is better spent really honing it in. You know what I mean? Now you can have super groups or bands who have members that are established and have done well and understand the process. Mm-hmm. We'll be able to get in together. Like we'll say Audioslave.
That is really the only definition of it, or only true overnight success, I would say.
Yeah, supergroups like automatically have fame, and they're gonna.
The first record's gonna sell just from
they have attention.
Curiosity,
they have attention, right? Yeah. They have everybody's attention, and people are gonna check it out.
Now, most supergroups don't really last.
That's something too, and I wonder if that's the chemistry.
What are some that have lasted? What are some supergroups that have lasted so long that you forget they're a supergroup? There's at least like 5.
If Chris Cornell wasn't dead, then Audioslave would still be around, I think. I mean, even though they took breaks because he had all the other projects stuff, solo stuff, Soundgarden, all the other stuff, right? So Audioslave would take breaks, and they would. I think there was an interview with Tom Morello who said when they got together to do some benefit show, Chris said like they got together again, like a reunited or whatever, and Chris said, this was a lot of fun. We should get together and do this again sometime. And that was like Tom Morello took it as, okay, we're going to make a new Audioslave record. That's cool. That was his
3, right?
3, yes. So the first one being self-titled, second one being,
I don't know.
Something or is the second one Out of Exile? Second one's Out of Exile.
I don't remember the order of the second 2. I know the first one. The first one's my favorite, and I know everything about it.
And then the other one's the Earth one, the picture of Earth on the cover. I can't remember what that one's called, but yeah. So I think they had 3. But the idea being though, that super groups can get together and yeah, you're right. They don't really always stay together. It's like, but then some of them,
it's almost like a gag, like, hey, wouldn't it be great if we wrote an album and then go back to our real jobs?
Like almost a project. Yeah. Or experiment almost. Yeah. That's interesting.
Like things like them Crooked Vultures. They go for one album and then they all go back to whatever they're doing.
Exactly.
And you never hear from them.
Exactly.
They might do a tour or something, but
what about Winery Dogs? Winery Dogs.
Winery Dogs is good, but they all do so many different things.
But I think that they've lasted so long now that I feel like they don't even seem like a supergroup to me anymore.
To me, they don't seem like a supergroup because of their music.
Right.
Like, because I went into that band for Mike Portnoy and Billy Sheehan.
Right.
And then that's when I figured out who Richie Kotzen was.
So for me, it was Richie Kotzen and Mike Portnoy, but I didn't know who Billy Sheehan was.
Really?
Yeah. So that's interesting that.
So, but there's
they draw in a crowd like
that when I'm listening to the music, I completely forget it's Billy Sheehan and Mike Portnoy playing on it.
They're just shredders, man. The music is so played to perfection. It's like, it's the exact thing that the song needs. Both of those guys are the rhythm section. Mm-hmm. Let Richie do whatever he wants. Like, he is the songwriter. I'm sure the primary, at least, songwriter. I'm not saying they don't write. The other guys don't write stuff, but Richie Kotzen's the songwriter, and they kind of form it around him, and they're so good at it. They're the best at it.
Yep.
It's got to be. Anyways, so yeah.
I'm trying to think of a supergroup that's lasted though. Winery Dogs, I would say sure, but they only have like an album and a half.
Yeah, Velvet Revolver didn't last. Yeah.
And see, the Winery Dogs haven't done anything since like 2015 or something. Like,
but will they though? Maybe, it's not. Yeah, but it's still not like they're putting their primary focus on it.
Yeah, they're all doing different stuff. Like, who knows when it's coming back? That's what happened to Velvet Revolver. Remember, they never decided. At least my understanding of it at the time was they were not deciding to quit the band.
Right.
They were just deciding to find a new singer.
Yeah.
And then it's been a decade.
Yeah, exactly. And that's tough.
Or more now.
Yeah.
And then now at some point, of course, it was like, yeah, we're not going back to that.
Yeah, right. At some point, they must have like all had something else going on and realized that they were better off
There's
spending
some
their
interesting dudes. That
or was it Scott Weiland's death? Was it Scott Weiland's death that ended
was
Velvet
before that.
Revolver? Was it?
They did.
It didn't seem like they were doing much.
They
so.
kicked him out. You know that, right?
They kicked him out because he was in drug. He wouldn't get clean.
Yeah.
And then did they
Well,
bring
it's
him
not
back
that he
though?
wouldn't get clean. It's that he wasn't able to do his duties because of his problem.
Right. And they, yeah.
And he was erratic.
Right.
Weird.
Right. They always
out
said
of
he
his
was,
mind all the
yeah.
time.
Yeah. That's interesting.
And I can only imagine that was like PTSD for Slash and Duff and Matt. They were like, fucking,
Yeah.
just
Here we
dealt
go
with
again.
this, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. So what other bands that have like kind of seemed like overnight success? How about Steel Panther, dude?
Yeah, that's a good one.
They seem like an overnight success, but check this out. Wikipedia's got them in Metal Shop / Metal School, which I think this
Just like
name
a tribute,
changed.
right?
Well, it was a cover band. It was just a Sunset Strip.
SKOOL.
Yeah. So which is funny because of the education connotation there, but Metal Shop / Metal School. So they must have switched names there, but that's 2000 to 2007. They have that, and they were just a cover band that played 80s metal.
These guys in some form or another being together,
Right.
and not being Steel Panther at all.
Right. And they were playing covers and doing 80s metal covers, basically 80s glam metal. And they wrote one song. I think Stripper Girl was the first song they wrote on the way to Vegas or something like that. So they were like realizing that they could have the potential. Oh, it's when they wrote that song, they started playing it live. I've said this story on the podcast before. They started playing it live and people really dig the originals, and they were kind of forced them to go and make originals, and making it in a jokingly way because they were doing 80s metal covers, right? So think about how that evolution happened. It took the time of doing all those covers and, to realize that the original music they could make would be a success. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because they went off all their music. You listen to it, it has these 80s metal licks in it, and it has these things that are throwbacks to that type of music, right? So I feel like they knew it was going to be a success, and then they just had to add their own spin on it. And I don't know, I think they really hit the nail on the head, but it wasn't overnight. We're talking 2000 to 2007, and then in 2008 they released Feel the Steel, and they went on that for 2 years. And then they came out with Balls Out in 2011. I remember when Balls Out came out, that was the night we went and saw, you were there too, just
Halloween.
we didn't know each other. Yeah, Halloween night, that's when it came out. That's when we saw Guns N' Roses.
I thought that was 2012, but I guess that
It
wasn't.
was 2011. Yeah, because I remember literally we got out of
I had no idea it was Steel Panther.
we got out of the Guns N' Roses concert, and me and Kyle were both like, that new Steel Panther record's gonna be killer, because this is only their second record. So we knew the first one, which everybody loves the first one. It's so classic, right? And then that second one came out, and we were like, we gotta listen to it. So we listened to it all the way on the way home from South Carolina to Charlotte, or Mooresville actually, and we loved it. Even late, Guns N' Roses gets done at whatever it was, like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, something crazy, and I had to work the next day.
Class the next day.
Yeah, I had to work the next day.
I was sitting in class like a freaking zombie.
Dude, I wish I knew you back then, man,
And
because
then,
we were so close. We were probably so close to each other.
Yeah.
So crazy.
And then later that week, Ashton and I saw Queensryche in Myrtle Beach.
Right.
We saw Guns N' Roses on whatever day that was, Saturday, whatever, and then
Went to
Queensryche
saw
on Friday
Queensryche.
or
That's
whatever.
killer.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So Steel Panther, not an overnight success, even though it might seem like it, because all of a sudden everybody knows who Steel Panther is. It's so crazy.
And then the next time I saw Guns N' Roses, I saw John Mayer like 4 days later.
Right.
It's like, and I don't go to concerts too often, so it's
Right.
weird that both time I've seen Guns N' Roses, I've seen another big act like
Right after.
within a week.
That's cool. That's cool. Guns N' Roses is still one of my favorite shows. Them and Metallica. I don't know who else. Steel Panther puts an amazing show on, obviously. Train.
Train
talk a little
started
bit
as
about
a it says they were formed in 93.
Okay.
They started as a God, what am I trying to say? A Led Zeppelin tribute band.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah. You
that's
have to look at their
that if you know them, that explains their
93 to 97.
yeah. So they 93 to 97 they started, and then their first album
Rogues
comes
Gallery is what they're
out,
called.
their first album comes out in I think 99 or maybe 2000. Let's see. Might have been 98. Nope, it was released February 24th, 98.
Okay. And then the hit
By the way,
single.
that first album, Train.
Yeah.
It's yellow. It's got a king on it.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to listen to that album front.
That's
to
got
back.
Drops of Jupiter on it, right?
No, Drops of Jupiter is the next album. It's
Oh,
called
okay.
Drops of
Oh, it's the top. Okay.
And then that had Big Hit on it, of course, big hits on it. And then My
Yeah.
Private Nation was their third one that had Calling All Angels. So
Okay.
they had Meet Virginia on the first album, Drops of Jupiter. They literally had hits on every album.
That's crazy.
And then they put out For Me
So-
It's You, and there were no hits on that. And then they took a hiatus for a while.
Oh, okay. Okay.
they have a lot of like personal issues, like they're pretty drama ridden.
Sure. So would you say that they got success on that first record, Train? Would you say that's when they caught
Meet
fire?
Virginia was on it. It was so see Top 20 hit.
Okay, so there you go. So all right, so we will say that then. Then there you go. You got.
You see this though? It was self-produced for $25,000. How awesome is that?
That is awesome.
Me Virginia is an iconic song.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that song, and they self-produced it for $25,000.
That's killer.
Which at the time in '99 was like dirt cheap.
Yeah,
That's almost free.
yeah. They got it done as cheap
And
as they could.
That might even include like distribution costs. And stuff.
Right.
And by the way, that album, because of that, is super hard to find a hard copy of, and I have one sitting in my.
Oh, nice.
My
An original one, not like a reprint or anything.
Got a crack in the screen and everything.
It's got a crack in the cover.
Case,
yeah. So, anyways, that's 4 years their formation, 93 to 97, and then 98 released the first record and toured on it for 2 years. It looks like building on it. So, anyways, then probably by the time Drops of Jupiter came out, it's probably when they like
Drops of Jupiter is when they hit superstardom. I mean,
that's what I'm
it was produced
saying.
By Brendan O'Brien.
There you go. So my point being though is that obviously not an overnight success, might seem like it, but they're years into it, 4 years into it before they
4 years before you even heard of their first hit.
Exactly. Before they so remember that when you're starting a band out there, this is why we're having this conversation. When you remember that you should remember when you're starting a band out there, that this is not going to be a quick process. This is a lifestyle choice. Basically, you're going to revolve your life around music, and you're going to be doing it for a while in hopes of getting some kind of success that you can, monetize, I guess, whatever. I don't know. My goal as a musician would be to be completely paid through music. That would be great. But I don't want to do it in any way. Obviously, I don't want to just go in and work for somebody, I'm trying to think of a situation that I might be pressed with. Like somebody wants me to go do something for them, and it could be an opportunity to play music. I want to do it my own way. I want to make my music and spend the time, put it out, build a following, and hopefully monetize that eventually. That'd be great. That'd be my goal.
The right way to do it.
Yeah. Well,
what about the Beatles here?
The Beatles are interesting because
because I don't know their story very well, but I will point this out.
I don't know all about it. I know the main idea.
Where was it? They built their reputation playing clubs at Liverpool and Hamburg over a 3-year period from 1960. So that would have been 1960 to 1963. 3 years
playing covers
of
no originals.
Grinding.
Yeah, no originals, just playing covers, and they did it. Not those 3 years were not once a month they played a cover song, a cover set. Those 3 years were literally they were playing every weekend, all night, all night. I think it was crazy. That I've seen documentaries where they talk about this. It's just crazy amounts of time playing on stage, and then they started writing music. Think about like what that means, and think about how great the Beatles were, and what they meant to the music whole as a whole. You know what I mean? What they did for music, and I think that has a lot to do with it. They studied music. They were literally like, what does it say here? They made their 1950s rock and roll group. I just saw something here, the counterculture of the 1960s. Okay, so they're just saying that they were like the change in the 60s, like they were what steered music.
Which is funny because looking back, they're so vanilla.
Yeah, well now, definitely, because everybody just took what they had and built
like
on it.
Before then,
sure, exactly.
Everything's kind of the same.
It is crazy. So, anyways, years for the Beatles.
The Beatles nowadays are like the equivalent of like, I don't know, Tekashi 6ix9ine or something.
Right. Dude, that's a crazy comparison. That's crazy. But yeah. So,
obviously not musically comparing them.
Yeah. And I don't wonder what the lineup changes were in the Beatles too. You know what I mean? I'd like to do some research into that and see if they had a lot of member change ups through their time being. Yeah.
Well, they have Pete Best. You know all about that, right?
I don't.
So the drummer before Ringo, his name was Pete Best, and they call it Pete Best syndrome whenever anyone quits a band and then they get famous after they quit. Because Pete Best quit, they got Ringo, and then they got
the
super
Beatles
famous.
became the
So they call it Pete Best syndrome.
Oh, that's crazy.
So
interesting.
I mean, imagine being in Prep and Barium,
right?
And you quit, and then they get a new guy,
and then
they become super fucking famous.
Yeah. You know what though? In that scenario, like first of all, that scenario is impossible because obviously that's my project, but. In that scenario, I would, if I walked away from something, I would walk away knowing that, you know what I mean? I walk away knowing that that's a possibility and totally fine with it.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to be animosity. Like,
and I'm sure that's how Pete Best feels as well.
Right.
But it's easy.
Well, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he had no idea what it was going to happen.
It's easy to project like, what we would want to happen onto him, but he might not have given a shit.
Sure. That's true. That's true.
Like I didn't want that anyway. Like tons of people have quit bands because they got too famous. Izzy Stradlin.
Right. That's a really good example. That's a good point.
There's others that I can't think of.
Yeah, there's plenty more.
Metallica, this is all you again.
This is an interesting one. Formed in 81, and I think 83 was their first EP, which was the Metal Up Your Ass, or if it was Whiplash or something like that. What is it?
Did you like Death Magnetic, by the way?
I did. I loved it.
I liked Death Magnetic a lot.
Yeah, 2008 was my graduation year. Really good. 9th album.
I remember I was 2008, I would have been in 10th grade.
Yeah.
And it was summer and I was mowing my mom's lawn once a week, and I would always listen to that album while I was mowing the lawn.
Yeah, that's killer record all the way front to back. 81, so they were formed 82.
They really haven't had that many past members when you look at
No,
this list.
because if you think about it, like
This
they
one
never
was a
changed
deaf.
drummers. Yeah.
Who's Ron McGovney though? I don't know that.
He was their
Obviously, I
guitar
know Dave
player.
Mustaine.
I'm pretty sure he was their other guitar player before Dave Mustaine. Before
he's
Dave
old,
Mustaine?
old.
Yeah, I believe. I might be wrong, but I believe that too. We can click on it, I guess. We got Wikipedia. Member of Metallica in the
Original
first
bass
year.
guitarist.
Okay, bass guitar. So he's before Cliff. That's who he was, right? Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Anyways, so they were forming, and they actually
never
got
had a different drummer.
no,
never had a
Lars,
different
and
singer
Lars has
and-
never been in another band. Think about that. Lars has only been in one band his whole life,
crazy, dude.
Metallica. Never
crazy.
joined another band. That's insane. James had another
I don't
band
know that I have
before.
the patience or will for that.
Oh my God. I mean, but it was kind of his band, you know, like it was his
that's a good point.
passion, you know?
But even I would get tired of it. Like,
Yeah,
I
maybe.
get tired of my own project from time to time.
Yeah. Anyway, so they haven't had a whole lot of lineup changes. I mean, other than the big ones that everybody kind of knows. Obviously, Cliff died, and they got Rob. They have Jason Newsted, and then they had Rob Trujillo, and
So really, only 3 bass players. Well, not counting Ron. So 4 bass players,
right,
which is not that many for a 40-year career.
right. And then once they got rid of Dave, they got Kirk, and he stayed in the
Stayed
entire
whole
time. So
they've
literally very few,
and a lot of those lineup changes happened pretty early on.
Right.
So
So, anyways, but the thing is too that when they found Cliff, that was part of their discovery too. Like they're forming a band. They formed a band in 81, right? And then they're playing around town
Kill
and
'Em
stuff.
All was 83.
And they
2 years.
They run So and then they
That's
run
pretty
into
quick. Now, Kill 'Em All, it might not have been immediately a super hit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
It
that-
wasn't.
we have to
It was a
factor that
cult
in as
following.
well.
It was a cult following somewhat. I think they were like the front edge of this
We
new.
forgot Master of Puppets.
Oh yeah, when we were talking earlier, we did forget that. That's before Injustice. So Master Puppets was.
So And Justice was Newsted.
Yeah, I want to say.
All 3 of these were Cliff.
I want to say Master Puppets must have been Cliff too, right? Yeah. Let's double check this. I feel so stupid for missing this.
I'm definitely not up on my Metallica.
Yeah, well, for me, it's all kind of it's all like I gotta kind of look it up because I wasn't alive during it all. I just kind of learned about it
Yeah,
afterwards.
you learn about it and then you forget about it.
Yeah, there we go. So
That was
Cliff was
Jason
on
Newsted.
bass. Well,
Jason Newsted.
well, it
as
says Cliff too, so it must have been both. Maybe.
Oh, the 2018 remastered version.
Oh, okay. So Cliff was on Master Puppets then, and then after that, Injustice was Jason Newsted, and that's why there's no bass on Injustice. Apparently, everybody always says that because Jason Newsted was. It was the animosity, I think. You know, because lose your bass player like that in that way, and then have somebody else come in and try and step in his place, and you're gonna,
What are you gonna do? Just not have bass? Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, well, I don't know how it all happened. Like what the real story behind it all is. If there's recording notes right here or something in Wikipedia. Oh, it's quite a bit too. Let's see if it says anything about the bass on here being quiet. The bass guitar was made almost inaudible at the instruction of Hetfield and Ulrich. According to, I don't know if that's true. That sounds crazy. According to Rasmussen, after Lars and James in their initial mixes, the first song they said to take the bass down so you can just hear it, and then once you've done that, take it further 3 decibels. Wow! So take it to where you just barely hear it, then take it down 3 decibels below that.
That's why you don't let the musicians mix.
Right. Well, especially like your other bandmates' parts. You know what I mean? Like it's not the best way to go about it. That's interesting though. He wasn't satisfied. The Justice album just wasn't something that really felt good to me because you can't really hear the bass. It's a good point. A lot of people talk shit about that because there's no bass on it, man. A lot of people say that's what ruined that album.
A lot of the problem it said was because that album was self-produced. So they had
Oh, well, there you go.
guide 'em.
There you go. And after you've reached Master of Puppets fame,
album. Like,
well,
come on.
you've reached Master of Puppets fame though, and then you go in there and you got this bass
think you
player.
can do it?
Right. You think,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you think you're going to tell the bass player you can't be heard or whatever. That's crazy.
So Guns N' Roses. This is they formed when 86.
Yeah.
No,
87
they formed
was the album.
85.
85
They
was
signed in 86, which is super fast. And
Right.
then also, we know Appetite came out in 87. But what a lot of people don't know is Appetite did nothing
right.
for over a year, I think.
Right.
I always wonder what that year was like.
Yeah. Just
Like, what was that year of,
contemplating,
like, we
contemplating
released
what we're
a
doing.
dope album and like, no
But
one
when
cares.
you're playing big show, like you're playing not big shows, but good shows, like you're having a like really good reaction out there for a year. You know what I mean? Like it would be motivating, because they were like the scene in the strip. Yeah, the strip. You know what I mean? Like once they hit the scene, They kind of took over and had the live
Their
show that
album
everybody
kinda-
talked
it didn't
about.
really do much for a year, and then it just, obviously skyrocketed.
Right. And 35 million copies sold, or 30 million copies sold.
Is it the third or second most high-selling debut album of all time? It was the second.
Second, I believe. It was right in the middle of the
Beat by Hootie
Boston.
and the Blowfish.
Yeah. So Hootie and the Blowfish first, Guns N' Roses second, Boston third. That's crazy. And that Boston record is amazing too.
Yeah, every song's a hit. Nirvana, I don't know this story very well either.
Yeah, so Nirvana basically achieved success when they released their second album. Their first album, Bleach, was pretty good, I think, and like people were kind of into them then. But their mainstream success came with Nevermind, which was the first single off that was Smells Like Teen Spirit. So once that song hit, that was the breaking point for them. But they had a whole record before then. You know what I mean? So you put an album out. I don't think they had I don't think they were signed yet when they put out Nevermind. I might be wrong. Maybe they were. This is a lot of research to do, but the idea on all these bands is that, first of all, there's several different ways that people make it, like bands make it, and they achieve success. All their stories are different. It's all dependent on what their circumstances were, and ultimately, you just have to believe in your music. Make music that you believe in, and keep doing it. Don't fucking stop. That's my advice. We got one more band I want to just talk about real quick. Another new band. Dallas, you want to? I don't want to interrupt you here.
I was reading
hardcore
about Nirvana.
Yeah, we should look into Nirvana and other bands like that more and find out their full story, because I don't know everything about every band.
It's to get the full story, you kind of need to read the books.
Yeah, or documentaries. Yeah.
Something. So we're on the 1975 now. They started playing together as teenagers in 2002.
Yeah,
and they just really got big in like 2015, 16.
That's
16 is when they. Well, I mean, I guess they were already big in 16 though, which is unbelievable to me.
Right, but even still, look at the time that is. That's still a long time. 2002, they were like, weren't they all in?
They released a series of EPs throughout 2012 before releasing their self-titled in 2013. So 2013 is when that first album came out, and that was a decently big thing.
Mhm.
And then their second album was massive.
Yeah,
and then they continued to just stay massive.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Weren't they all in school together? Isn't that what it was? Yeah, teenagers in 2002. So high school. Yeah,
They're English band, by the way.
Yeah. So they were in Wilmslow High School.
Over here, I don't think we won't hear about like a up and coming English band until they're already
until they're across the pond, until they come over here, like and make their tour or whatever.
With the internet, I guess it's a little easier. Definitely a lot easier. But it's still like you have to hit a certain threshold of fame before we really know who anyone really knows who you are.
Right.
So
yeah, and you got to get across the ocean. I mean, if you're big enough to where you're able to get across the ocean, like somebody's going to pay for your tour to go overseas. Then
have you ever read up on Jimi Hendrix's history at all?
Yeah. Well, no, I've watched a lot of documentaries.
He tried really hard to be famous over here for a long time and failed and failed and failed and failed. Nobody wanted him. Nobody liked him.
Yeah.
He went over to England, immediately got huge.
Yeah.
Came back, everyone loved him.
Yeah.
What?
He played on, I think a big turning point in his life was when he played on stage with Clapton. He went to an Eric Clapton show and played on stage with him, and by all accounts, everybody pretty much said that he blew Clapton off the stage. Like it was like pathetic.
He played with
and Clapton's
it was
a good
either
guitar
Little
player.
Richard or Jerry Lee Lewis, and I can't remember which one. But one of those old school guys.
I want to say it was Little
I
Richard.
think it was Little Richard.
Yeah.
And Little Richard, the story goes, he fired him because he was too flashy. Little Richard's too flashy.
Right. Yeah. Crazy.
But I don't think it was like an evil thing. I think he was saying like, dude, like
play the part.
do your
play
own
for
thing.
the,
Like,
right.
you
right.
are not. This isn't your place.
Right.
This is not. You don't need.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like go off and do your own thing. You don't need me. You need your own.
Yeah.
You need to do your own thing. Yeah.
You're too good for this.
Yeah. That's a big thing to say too. Like,
I doubt he said that.
Yeah, you're right. He probably just
Might have been and
he probably just wanted
maybe some subtext.
Right. That's interesting. He probably just wanted to let him know that it wasn't going to work out and didn't really give him a lot of positive influence. Who knows? Anyways, let's wrap this thing up, dude.
Yeah, this was an easy hour.
Yeah, well, we had a good topic. I think that was a fun topic to discuss a little bit.
Yeah. So cover songs, if you guys want to hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever. You can even email us.
Yeah. And remember,
it's at musicianstalkshow.com.
Yeah, remember we still got the free, not free t-shirt. We get a t-shirt with the Patreon subscription on any level tier right now.
So through the end of April. $2 gets you a t-shirt, and they're nice. I have the one prototype in my car right now.
We got the prototype. It's fucking killer.
Nice. I think it might be mine.
Take it. I would wear it. It's gonna look good on you. So let's do our featured unsigned artists of the week. We've got a band called Rosabella that that Dallas found.
Rosabelle,
how did you find them?
They found us.
They found us.
They submitted to our unsigned
That's
artist
right.
feature.
What am I thinking?
And then Super Small World, they just played a show with Dirty Honey.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Isn't that funny? Like
everything seems
within
so
24 hours,
related.
all this stuff happened.
Yeah. So this is our song Madre. Check it out.
To remain